Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen and this is a book wrap-up. So I will not be doing any more monthly wrap-ups this year, and the reason why is because for the past month or so, certainly the last couple of weeks of 2017, there were a lot of booktubers that were talking about monthly wrap-ups and the fact that it really didn't work for them. And it made me aware of the fact that I myself am one of those people. Monthly wrap-ups are really stressful for me because I'm a very varied reader. Sometimes I read 6 books in a month, other times I just read 2. So having to upload a monthly wrap-up every month makes me feel anxious and makes me feel sad because I know that there are going to be times where my book wrap-ups are not going to be filled with a ton of books and with a ton of information. So in order to not have that happen and in order for me to not lose motivation when it comes to making wrap-ups, I have decided that I will be making a book wrap-up every time I read 4 books. So in this video, I am going to talk about the first 4 books that I have read in the year of 2018. I have already read about 8 books in the year of 2018, so every time I have 4, there will be a new video talking about them. And I also will not be talking about them from my least favorite to my most favorite. I will be talking about the books in chronological order. So that is what's going to be happening from now on my channel when it comes to book wrap-ups. And let's get started with this first video. So the first book that I read in 2018 was Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I think that's how you say her last name. So I have been really interested in this modern poetry collection for a long time. She is super famous right now. Her books are devoured by readers all over the world. And I am not someone that really gravitates towards poetry. So I thought that picking up this book as a first of the year would be great because it would be a great introduction into this new modern poetry that everyone is so in love with. Milk and Honey has poems about love, loss, what it means to be a woman in this current age, what it means to be a feminist, and to be honest, for me, it was a giant disappointment. Now, I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and talk trash about this book or about the author. I think that she certainly can write, and you see that in Milk and Honey. However, I do not think that all of the poems, the majority of the poems rather, are good enough to be praised the way that they have been praised. A lot of them are just sentences, and there are sentences that express ideas in absolutely no refreshing or interesting way. Like, for example, there is a poem in here that says, "You are your own soulmate." Frankly, I don't consider that a poem at all, because that is a sentence that I myself have said to myself a million times and that I have heard friends and many people express many times. While I agree with all of the ideas that Rupi was putting forth in this collection, and while I think that she might be a great person to hang out with, I do not understand why some people say that this book has changed their life or that this collection is the best collection of poetry that they have ever read. Because frankly, seems kind of like a collection of really deep Tumblr posts. I do have to say that the illustrations, there are some linear illustrations in this collection paired with some of the poems, and I think that they are really, really, really good. If it hadn't been for the illustrations, I probably would have been like, this is the biggest waste of time ever. I can't believe I read this, but the illustrations were good. So I ended up giving this 2 stars. I didn't like it. I will probably pick up The Sun and Her Flowers in the future just to see if she has evolved, if she has really written poems, but I am certainly not running to the bookstore to get it. Then I read The Nakano Thrift Shop by Hiromi Kawakami, and this follows a early 30-somethings woman who lives in Japan. Her name is Hitomi. She works at a thrift shop, and you just follow her kind of daily life. It seems to me that this is the type of book that is written by someone that certainly can write and felt the need to write, but didn't necessarily come up with a story to write. So she just wrote and created some characters and presented this to their publisher and was like, okay, this is my new book. I gave this 2 stars as well. So it was not a very good start of 2018 when it came to my reading. I felt like this was a book that had tremendous potential, but it never used that potential. The character of Hitomi is not a fun character to read about. She is not interesting in any way. She is in love with her co-worker and we don't really know why, because you don't know him, you don't know her. There's never a point in this story where you can say, yes, I have related to this character, because even though she lives a life that in many ways is extremely relatable, you know, she wakes up, she goes to work, she doesn't have the greatest job in the world, she's in love with her co-worker, she has a few friends, you know, that is a very relatable, simple life. However, you never build a connection because there's nothing here to connect to. The chapter titles in this book are all an object. So because it's a thrift shop, all of the chapters revolve around this object that somehow the owner of the thrift shop has acquired. And that is a fantastic idea. However, it's another wasted opportunity. I thought that while I was reading this book, there was going to be a shift. There was going to be a moment where something exciting happened, where her life moved in an unexpected way, and it just never happened for me. I could not happily recommend this to anybody. Then I read Margaret the First by Danielle Dutton, and this was a fantastic read. I absolutely adored this. So this is a fictional biography of Margaret Cavendish, who was the first woman to publish in the UK. She was an extravagant, fantastic, fashionable, eccentric woman. She lived in the 17th century and she was just someone that was very exciting to know about and read about. And she actually got the nickname Mad Madge because she was just so eccentric to the English public. Also, one of the great things about her is that she wrote these kind of crazy science fiction utopian stories, and I will definitely read something by her in the future. She just seemed like such a crazy character. This book is fantastic. Danielle Dutton has the ability to write creativity on the page. Margaret was such a vivacious person and she was so creative and imaginative, and Danielle Dutton was somehow able to get that imagination that she had on the page even from when she was a child. I gave this book 4 stars because I felt like the first half of the book was a lot stronger than the second half, and also because I felt that Danielle Dutton could have written a lot more. This is a very short novel and it really packs a punch, but it could have been extended. I would have wanted a lot more from Danielle Dutton in this book, and that is the reason why I gave it 4 stars. However, if you are someone that does not mind the length, then I think this is going to be a shoo-in for a 5 stars because this book is incredible. Danielle Dutton's prose is wonderful, and I'm just going to read you a little bit that I absolutely loved. And in this bit, Margaret is a child and she's talking about an idea that got into her head, and that idea is that birds can fly while they are asleep. As the driver pulled over to attend the injured animal, I sat and watched the sky, an oceanic mass of gray, with islands of steel blue, thinking, yes, certainly, birds must sleep at times while they fly. How ridiculous it was to think otherwise. Yet my brother's tutor, a man from Oxford with red eyebrows, had informed me the previous morning that no such thing could occur. Such a thing, his opinion, would be an affront to God, who had blessed birds with the ability to sleep and the ability to fly, but not the ability to sleep while flying. Absurd! Moreover, he went on, were it to be the case, each morning we would find at our feet heaps of dead birds that had smashed into rooftops or trees in the night. Night after night we would be awakened by this ornithological cacophony, this smashing of beaks against masonry, this violence of feathers and bones. It will not do, he said, to too greatly admire the mysteries of nature. But I remember that sparrow on the river bank and secretly held that the world was not so easily explained by a tutor's reason. Indeed,
It was then that I first formed the opinion, if childish, idly, that a person should trust her own good sense and nature's impenetrable wisdom.
And the last of my 4 books for this review will be Bridget Jones' Diary by Helen Fielden. You probably already know this because the movie is so famous, but I have never read the book until this year, and the movie is one of my favorite movies, and I have to say that it is pretty close to the book. It is certainly a worthy adaptation. In this book, you follow Bridget Jones, who is pretty much all of us. Alright, so those were my first 4 books of the year. I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!